Hey guys, I guess this is for both of you. Do you feel like you've sort of slayed some beasts now that you got through one of these?
Um, got the monkey off our back more than anything. With these past couple years, it just feel good to get that off.
Especially, you sort of got going real quick and then had a big third quarter. Dwayne says you guys are running on fumes at the end. Is that true?
Yeah. We were just gonna leave it all out there, whatever we had. From the beginning to the end. That's how all the guys played tonight.
Yeah. I mean, we just we pushed ourselves, and the team did it. We all got everybody that played, the bench, every last man in the locker room. They put it on the line, and it was a great win for us, and we look forward to the second round and the next challenge.
DeMar, how did it feel at the end when you hit those 2 free throws? Over here. Hi. Here. Right in front.
Short one in the back.
Just feel normal. Me and Cal was in the gym in here last night about 10, 11 o'clock. When nobody was in here, just the t-shirts laid out on the chairs, and that's when you put it in. You just think about that moment when there's nobody in the gym with you, and it's no pressure, and I just want to knock that down for my team and go from there with it.
You said today's game would be the biggest game in your career, and you also said how fun it would be because you can't replicate the moment. What was the game like the second you walked off the floor?
Man, it was great. The energy, the moments, a lot of people don't get them opportunities to be able to play in the Game 7 when, everything is on the line, and, all the things me and this guy and this team has been through. It's tough to get that moment duplicated, and, we just want to live every single minute of it.
Ryan on the left.
Hey, Kyle.
Yep.
DeMar's scoring is obviously big for you guys tonight, but his defense was big too. Talk about his defense and that charge he drew against Paul George late in the fourth quarter, how big his defense was for you guys tonight.
Well, I think it was just a team effort tonight. DeMar had the challenge of staying with Paul George all night. We didn't switch anything. I think DC did a great job, but DeMar made a great play at the end. He turned the ball over but got back into the play. But that's what it's about in Game 7s. You might make mistakes, but at the end of the day, you have to, try to make up for your mistakes. And, you can't play too cautious. But, he made up for the mistake and got a charge.
DeMar, pardon me. Over here. Didn't mean to interrupt there. I mean, you ended up with 30, but I think it was 32 shots. What's your mindset in a Game 7, and the ball's not going in the way you would want it, and you just keep going and keep going? How do you keep pushing like that?
Can I answer that one? Can I answer that one? He was going to empty the clip. That's what he did tonight, and that's what his goal was. And we gonna ride with him emptying that clip. I'm answering that question for you. So I don't care if he shot 40 times. He emptied the clip, and we won. So that's all that matters in that one.
Why is that important?
Because we know at the end of the day, we gonna get whatever the good, the bad, and we want to take that upon ourselves. And at the end of the day, he can live with. And if we lost that game and he shot 32 times, he don't care. He can live with that, and I can live with that too. So at the end of the day, my man emptied that clip, and he got a brand new one.
DeMar, during this series, I heard someone talking that you are not those players who express their emotions a lot. Like they're saying like you act the same, you talk the same, but people want you to show your emotions. And even in Game 5, after those 2 games, you do not have those facial expressions. But today, in the third quarter, after you get those 5 points, we finally saw that. So, what's in your mind at that point of the game?
That's crazy you even say that, because in the locker room, I even brought that up to the guys. Like, I kind of got in my element a little bit, and DeMar really, he's one of them passionate players, and he just told me sometimes you just got to let it out. And, for that moment, for that Game 6, it was necessary.
Go ahead.
Back here, guys. Norman Powell and how he's growing in front of your eyes.
Great. Ivan told Norman afterwards, man, that man have hell of a heart. You know, for a rookie to go in there and play big time like that, man, we couldn't be more prouder to see him do the things he's doing out there on that court.
Kyle, I mean, I know you're nodding, but I mean, how does the team feed off of when you see? I mean, Paul George just was in here saying that he had to give Norman respect for what he was able to do on him.
Yeah.
How do you feed off of his defense, his energy?
Well, I think the intensity of the way Norm plays is, doesn't matter who he's playing against, where he's playing at. He's going to be physical. He's going to be always touching. He's always going to be, keeping a hand on him. And we just fed off we just fed off the energy of Norm. He made big shots, then he was coming down and playing good defense. So when you expend the amount of energy that Norm did on both ends of the floor, you kind of just want to keep him energized.
Two-part question. You either can answer. Sorry to be difficult. When Biz spoke with us, he mentioned how much he believed in his teammates like 5 or 6 times. In a series like this, when it's up and it's down, it's good and it's bad, how important is it, the trust within the locker room and just amongst the team as a whole?
It means a lot. You got to think about it. Every guy in that locker room, we do everything together. If it's raising our families together, if it's traveling together, going to war together, having good days, bad days. So you have to gain that trust with one another because, it's a brotherhood that we have. And every time we go out there and play for one another, that's what it's all about.
The second part was about Dwayne, and it was just how did his mindset and just, I guess, how calm he was throughout. What is that? Is that just how Dwayne always is, or how does that affect?
I think Case is always going to be himself. He's always going to be fiery. He's always going to be into it. He just wants us to go out there and play defense and give it our all. And, he expects us to give it our all every night. And I think tonight, was one of them examples that we put it all on the line. Bodies sore, guys are, cut, bleeding, scratches, but we got it done.
Final question to Ian.
You're obviously still on a high from this series, but now less than 48 hours till you face Miami. What do you look for in that series? What do you relish about the challenge of playing the Heat?
Just the fact that it's the Heat. They got D-Wade, they got Joe, they got Luau, they got Goran. Watch that. They're a challenge in itself. It's Miami. It's just you want to go out there and you want to play the best team. They're the 3 seed, so you just want to go out there and you look forward to the challenge.
Yeah, veteran team. A lot of guys been in these positions deep in the playoffs, and it's gonna be one of them another fought hard series, and we don't expect nothing less.